The wedding dress weighed heavy as iron chains as Eliza Hartwell ran through the Nebraska twilight, her bare feet bleeding on the rocky trail. Behind her, voices shouted, her father's bourbon-soaked rage, her intended groom's cold commands. She'd stolen away during the ceremony itself, right before speaking vows that would have bound her to a man who'd already shown her the back of his hand during their engagement. The mining town of Redemption Falls disappeared behind her as she stumbled toward the wilderness. No plan beyond escape. Her lungs burned, legs trembled, but she pushed forward until darkness swallowed the path completely. When she finally collapsed against a cottonwood tree, the night pressed in with a silence that felt almost worse than the shouting. Before I continue with Eliza's desperate journey, I'd love to ask you to take a moment to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Your support truly means everything to us and motivates us to bring you more quality storytelling like this. Also, I'm curious, where are you listening from today? Please let me know in the comments. Now back to our story. Eventually, smoke from a chimney appeared on the horizon. The ranch house was modest but well-maintained, surrounded by sturdy fencing and several outbuildings. Horses grazed in a nearby pasture, their coats gleaming with health. She approached the main house with trembling legs, her throat so dry she could barely swallow. A man emerged from the barn before she reached the porch, tall and broad-shouldered, with dark hair that brushed his collar and eyes the color of storm clouds. He wore a gun belt low on his hips, and something in his stance spoke of coiled danger, but his expression showed concern rather than threat. "Help you, miss?" His voice was rough velvet, a gravelly bass that rumbled in his chest. Eliza's hand moved to her mother's ring. "I can pay. I have gold. I just need food. Maybe shelter for one night." Her voice cracked on the last words. The man's jaw tightened as he took in her appearance. The ruined dress, bloody feet, hollow eyes. He stepped closer, moving slowly like approaching a wounded animal. "What's your name?" "Eliza Hartwell." She twisted the ring off her finger with shaking hands, held it out. "This is real gold. It's worth—" "Keep it." His hand closed over hers, pushing the ring back toward her. His palm was warm, calloused, surprisingly gentle. "I don't take payment from women running for their lives. You look like you need a doctor, hot food, and safe place to sleep. I can provide all three without gold changing hands." Tears sprang to her eyes. "I can't just take charity. I can work. I'm strong. I can cook, clean. Then we'll discuss work after you're fed and rested." He released her hand carefully. "I'm Cole Dalton. This is my ranch. Come inside." The interior was surprisingly tidy for a bachelor's home. Clean wooden floors, simple furniture, a stone fireplace with embers still glowing. Cole guided her to a chair at the kitchen table and moved to the stove with practiced efficiency. "There's a washroom through that door. Clean clothes in the chest. They'll be big on you, but better than that dress. Take your time." Eliza wanted to protest, maintain some dignity, but exhaustion won. She retreated to the washroom and found a basin of water still warm, presumably from his own morning routine. She scrubbed away the dirt and fear, then dressed in one of his shirts that hung to her knees, and a pair of trousers she had to roll up repeatedly. When she emerged, the smell of bacon and eggs made her stomach clench painfully. Cole set a full plate before her without comment, along with fresh bread and butter. He sat across from her with his own meal, eating in silence while she devoured everything like a starving wolf. Only when her plate was empty did he speak. "Who's chasing you?" Eliza's hands clenched in her lap. "My father. and the man he tried to force me to marry. Thomas Wolcott. He owns half the mines in Redemption Falls. Cole's expression darkened. I know Wolcott. He's got a reputation for being cruel to his workers. Heard rumors about how he treats women too. He leaned forward, elbows on the table. You ran during the wedding itself? She nodded. Right before the vows. Thomas, during our engagement, he showed me what kind of man he really was. My father didn't care. Said I should be grateful any man would have me, considering we're drowning in his debts. Your father's a fool. Cole's voice was flat, matter of fact. And Wolcott's dangerous. He won't let this insult go unanswered. He'll search for you. I know. Eliza met his eyes, trying to summon courage she didn't feel. I just need a few days to figure out where to go. I have an aunt in Denver who might. Denver's 3 weeks' ride, minimum. You'd never make it alone. Cole stood, began clearing dishes. You can stay here. I could use help with the house and cooking. I'm not skilled at either. You work for room and board until it's safe for you to travel. Fair trade. It was more than fair. It was salvation. Why would you do this for a stranger? Cole's hands stilled in the wash basin. When he turned to face her, something raw showed in his expression. 5 years ago, my sister ran from a man who beat her. She didn't make it to safety. I found her 2 days later. His throat worked. I swore if I ever had the chance to help another woman in that position, I would. So here we are. I'm sorry. The words felt inadequate. Don't be sorry. Just stay alive. He dried his hands on a towel. I'll teach you to shoot, ride properly, defend yourself. If they come looking, you'll be ready. Over the following days, Eliza settled into a rhythm at the ranch. She woke before dawn to prepare breakfast, mended Cole's worn clothes, kept the house clean. In return, he taught her skills she'd never imagined needing. Squeeze the trigger, don't pull, Cole instructed, standing behind her as she aimed at a row of bottles on fence posts. His chest pressed against her back as he adjusted her stance, hands guiding her elbows. Breathe out slow, then fire. The revolver kicked against her palm, and a bottle exploded into glittering shards. Eliza gasped in surprise and delight. Good. Cole's breath stirred her hair, and she felt his heartbeat against her shoulder blade. Again. She fired until her arms ached, until she could hit 5 bottles in succession. Only then did Cole step back, and the loss of his warmth felt startling. During riding lessons, he was patient with her inexperience. The ranch horses were well-trained, gentle creatures, but Eliza had only ridden side saddle a handful of times in her life. Grip with your knees, not just your hands, Cole called as she circled the corral on a bay mare named Juniper. You're part of the horse, not a passenger. When Juniper broke into a canter unexpectedly, Eliza lost her seat and tumbled into the dirt. Cole was beside her instantly, helping her up with concerned hands checking for injuries. I'm fine, she laughed breathlessly, surprising herself. When had she last laughed? Just bruised pride. Pride's the least important thing. His hands lingered on her arms. You sure nothing hurts? I'm sure. But she didn't pull away, and neither did he. For a long moment, they stood in the dusty corral, the afternoon sun warm on their faces, something unnamed crackling in the air between them. Cole cleared his throat and stepped back. Let's try again. Evenings were spent on the porch, watching the sun paint the sky in shades of amber and crimson. Cole would whittle small figures from wood, horses, birds, once a perfect miniature wagon, while Eliza mended or read from his small collection of books. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes silence was enough. Tell me about your sister, Eliza said one night, 3 weeks into her stay. Cole's knife stilled. Her name was Sarah. She was younger than you, barely 20 when she died. Sweetest person you'd ever meet, always seeing the good in people. His voice roughened. That's what got her killed. She thought her husband would change. It wasn't her fault. I know that here. He tapped his temple. Knowing it here, he pressed his chest. That's harder. I should have protected her better. Eliza set down her sewing. You can't protect someone from their own choices. Trust me, I know. My mother chose to stay with my father through years of drinking and gambling. I couldn't save her either. Cole looked at her then, really looked, and something shifted in his expression. You're stronger than you know, Eliza Hartwell. I'm learning to be. She held his gaze. You're teaching me. The moment stretched, heavy with meaning, until Cole broke it by returning to his whittling. But Eliza noticed his hands weren't quite steady. The peace shattered on a Tuesday morning when dust clouds appeared on the eastern horizon. Cole spotted them from the barn, his expression going hard and cold. Get inside. Take the rifle. If anyone but me comes through that door, shoot first. He was already moving toward the house, hand on his gun. Cole. Now, Eliza. She obeyed, positioning herself by the window with the Winchester Cole had taught her to use. Her heart hammered as 6 riders approached the ranch. Even from a distance, she recognized Thomas Wolcott's expensive black suit, her father's hunched posture. Cole met them in the yard, hands loose at his sides. Eliza cracked the window to hear. Help you, gentlemen? Cole's voice was deceptively casual. Wolcott dismounted, flanked by 4 rough-looking men who were clearly hired guns. I'm looking for my fiancée, Eliza Hartwell. Word is she might have come this direction. Don't know the name. Cole shifted slightly, putting himself more squarely between the house and the visitors. Plenty of travelers pass through. Now that's interesting. Wolcott smiled without warmth, because I paid the storekeeper in Redemption Falls very well for information. He remembered selling you supplies the day after my wedding, said you seemed in a hurry, bought extra food. Curious timing. Eliza's father spoke up, his voice wheedling. Now listen here, Mr. Dalton. My daughter's not right in the head. She needs to come home where she'll be taken care of proper. This is just a family matter. If it's a family matter, why'd you bring armed men? Cole's hand hovered near his gun. Seems excessive. Wolcott's expression turned ugly. I'm done with games. She's here, and she's my legal property. Her father signed a contract. Women aren't property. Cole's voice dropped to a dangerous growl. And no contract says a man can force an unwilling woman to marry him. You're on my land, making threats. I suggest you leave. One of Wolcott's men reached for his gun. Cole was faster. His revolver cleared leather in a blur, firing before the man completed his draw. The shot went wide, deliberate warning, kicking up dirt near the man's feet. But it proved Cole's point. Next one goes through flesh, Cole said quietly. Your choice. Wolcott's face purpled with rage. You're making a powerful enemy, Dalton. Won't be my first. Cole kept his gun trained on the group. Won't be my last. Now get off my land before I forget my manners entirely. They left, but Eliza knew it wasn't over. She emerged from the house on shaking legs. He'll be back, she said. With more men. Cole, I should leave. I won't let you get killed because of me. You're not going anywhere. Cole holstered his gun and turned to face her. His storm-gray eyes were fierce. I meant what I said. You're not property, Eliza. You're a person who deserves to make her own choices. If Wolcott wants to come at me, let him come. But why? Why risk everything for me? Cole closed the distance between them, raised one calloused hand to cup her face. His thumb traced her cheekbone with heartbreaking gentleness, because somewhere in the last month, you stopped being a stranger in need and became the reason I wake up smiling. Because I hear your laugh and feel like I can breathe properly again. Because when I imagine my future now, you're in every part of it. Eliza's breath caught. Cole, I'm not asking for anything, he said roughly. I'm not trying to own you like Wolcott did. I'm just telling you the truth. Whatever you decide, wherever you want to go, I'll help you get there. But if you want to stay, if you feel even a fraction of what I'm feeling, then say you're mine, and I'll protect you. Not because you need protecting, but because I need you to be safe. I need you to be happy. I need you. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I didn't think I could feel this way. After everything, I thought I was broken. But when I'm with you, I feel whole. I feel brave. I feel like myself for the first time in my life. You were never broken, Cole whispered. Just bent. Just healing. She rose on her toes and kissed him. Soft at first. Tentative. Then deeper, as he responded with a hunger that matched her own. His arms came around her, holding her close, but not confining. Strong, but careful. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Eliza pressed her forehead to his. I'm yours, she said clearly. And you're mine. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Together, Cole agreed, the word a vow. They had 5 days of borrowed peace. 5 days where Eliza allowed herself to imagine a future, helping Cole build his ranch, maybe starting a family, growing old together in this wild, beautiful land. They spent hours working side by side, talking about everything and nothing, stealing kisses when the work allowed. On the 6th day, Wolcott returned with 12 men. They came at dawn, surrounding the ranch house before Cole or Eliza fully woke. The sound of breaking glass brought them both running, men forcing their way through windows and doors simultaneously. Cole fought like a demon, dropping 3 men before someone hit him from behind with a rifle butt. He went down hard, blood streaming from a gash on his head. No. Eliza screamed, reaching for him. Rough hands grabbed her, dragged her back. Wolcott stood in the center of the chaos, immaculately dressed despite the early hour. Did you really think you could humiliate me and escape consequences? You're coming back to Redemption Falls, Eliza. We're finishing that ceremony today in front of everyone. And your cowboy, he sneered at Cole's prone form, is going to hang for kidnapping. He didn't kidnap me. I came here willingly. Your father will testify otherwise, won't you, James? Her father wouldn't meet her eyes. Just doing what's right, Eliza. You'll thank me when you're settled proper. Cole groaned, trying to rise. Wolcott kicked him viciously in the ribs. Eliza's vision went red. All those hours of practice, all those lessons Cole had taught her, they came flooding back. She went limp in her captor's grip, making him loosen his hold, then drove her elbow back into his solar plexus, exactly as Cole had shown her. As the man doubled over, she grabbed the knife from his belt and spun. She didn't think, just moved. The knife found Wolcott's shoulder. Not a killing blow, but enough to make him scream and stagger back. In the confusion, Eliza dropped to her knees beside Cole, pressing her hands to his head wound. Stay with me, she begged. Please, Cole, stay with me. His eyes fluttered open, unfocused but determined. Together, he managed. Together, she promised. Wolcott's remaining men rushed forward, but the thunder of hoofbeats stopped them. 6 riders burst into the yard, the sheriff from Redemption Falls and 5 deputized men, all armed and looking grim. Thomas Wolcott, the sheriff called, dismounting. "You're under arrest for attempted murder, assault, and breaking the Territorial Peace Act." Wolcott clutched his bleeding shoulder. "This is insane! She's my fiancée!" "She's not anything to you. I've got 3 signed statements from women in Redemption Falls about your abuse. A federal marshal's been investigating you for months." The sheriff gestured to his deputies. "Take him." As they dragged Wolcott away, still protesting, the sheriff approached Eliza and Cole. "Miss Hartwell, I'm Sheriff Morrison. Sorry we didn't get here sooner. Took time to gather enough evidence that would stick. Your aunt in Denver sent word you might be in trouble. She hired the marshal." Eliza had written to Aunt Margaret 2 weeks ago, not expecting help, but hoping for advice. Apparently, her aunt had done more than reply. "Cole needs a doctor," Eliza said urgently. "Doc's waiting in town. Let's get him loaded up." The next few hours blurred. The doctor cleaned and stitched Cole's head wound, pronounced his ribs bruised, but not broken. Eliza refused to leave his side, holding his hand even when he insisted she should rest. "Stubborn woman," Cole muttered, but his grip on her fingers was tight. "You taught me that," she replied. "No complaints now." When he was finally cleared to go home, Eliza helped him onto the wagon seat. The doctor had offered them a room in town to recover, but Cole wanted his own bed, his own land. Eliza understood completely. The ranch looked different somehow when they returned, more like home than shelter. Cole leaned on her as they walked inside, both of them battered, but unbowed. "I need to say something," Eliza said as she helped him settle onto the couch. "Before you fell, when Wolcott was there, I realized something. I've spent my whole life being afraid. Of my father's anger, of having no choices, of ending up trapped like my mother. But when they hurt you, I wasn't afraid anymore. I was furious. I would have fought every single one of them to keep you safe." Cole pulled her down beside him, ignoring his injuries, to wrap her in his arms. "You did fight. You saved both of us. You taught me how." She pressed a kiss to his jaw, careful of his bruises. "You taught me to be strong, to value myself, to believe I deserve good things. You always deserved them." His voice was rough with emotion. "I just helped you see it." "Then help me see the rest of our lives," Eliza whispered. "Because I'm not going anywhere. This is my home now. You're my home." Cole tipped her chin up, his storm-gray eyes intense. "Marry me. Not because you need protection or have nowhere else to go. Marry me because you want to build a life together. Because you want to wake up next to me for the next 50 years. Because you love me even half as much as I love you." "I love you at least twice as much," Eliza said, laughing through tears. Yes, I'll marry you." "Thank God." He kissed her deeply, thoroughly, until they were both breathless. "I was prepared to ask every day until you said yes." "I would have said yes the first time." She rested her head on his shoulder, feeling his heartbeat steady and strong beneath her palm. "I think I've been yours since the moment you told me to keep my mother's ring. When you saw me as a person, not property." "You're the most valuable thing I've ever known," Cole said quietly. "And I'm going to spend every day proving it to you." 3 weeks later, they married in a simple ceremony at the ranch. Aunt Margaret traveled from Denver, bringing gifts and tearful blessings. Sheriff Morrison attended, along with several of Cole's rancher friends and their families. Even the doctor came, joking that he wanted to ensure his patients were fully recovered before they undertook married life. Eliza wore a dress Aunt Margaret brought, simple blue cotton that made her eyes shine. Cole wore his best suit, still nervous despite having faced down gunmen without flinching. "You look terrified," Eliza teased as they stood before the traveling preacher. Absolutely terrified, Cole admitted, but in the best way possible. When the preacher asked if she took this man, Eliza's voice rang out clear and strong. I do. And when Cole repeated his own vows, adding, I promise to honor your strength, protect your freedom, and love you fiercely until my last breath, she believed every word. The kiss sealed not just their marriage, but their partnership. Two broken people who'd found each other in the wilderness and built something beautiful from the ruins of their pasts. As the guests celebrated with food and music, Cole pulled Eliza aside onto the porch, where they'd spent so many evenings together. The sun was setting, painting the sky in those familiar shades of amber and crimson. Happy? He asked, arms around her waist. Happier than I ever imagined possible. She turned in his embrace to face him. Thank you for giving me a choice, for showing me I was worth fighting for. Thank you for choosing to stay. Cole pressed a kiss to her forehead, then her nose, then her lips. For choosing me. Always, Eliza promised. Together. Together, Cole echoed, and the word had never sounded sweeter. The first winter, the first snow came in late November, 6 weeks after the wedding. Eliza woke to a world transformed. White drifts piled against the windows, the landscape softened and silent under a thick blanket. Cole was already up, stoking the fire in the main room until it roared with heat. Storm's going to be bad, he said, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders as she joined him. Could last 3, maybe 4 days. I need to check on the livestock, make sure they're secured in the barn. Eliza nodded, already mentally cataloging their supplies. They'd prepared well, smoked meat, preserved vegetables, flour and cornmeal enough to last weeks. I'll start breakfast. You'll need a hot meal before going out in that. She'd settled into ranch life with surprising ease, her body growing stronger from the physical work, her skills expanding daily. But as she watched Cole bundle into his heavy coat and gloves, anxiety twisted in her stomach. Be careful, she said, catching his arm. He kissed her forehead. Always am. I'll be back within the hour. But an hour passed, then 2. The wind howled like wolves, rattling the windows and driving snow sideways. Eliza paced the kitchen, alternating between watching the door and preparing food just to keep her hands busy. When Cole finally stumbled inside, he was covered in ice. His lips blue with cold. Blood seeped through his pants leg. What happened? Eliza rushed to help him out of his frozen coat. One of the horses panicked, kicked me. Cole's teeth chattered. It's not deep, just need to warm up. Eliza had him stripped down and wrapped in blankets by the fire within minutes. She heated water, cleaned the gash on his thigh. He was right, it wasn't deep, but it was long and would need careful tending. Her hands were steady as she stitched it closed, using the techniques the doctor had shown her after the fight with Walcott's men. When did you learn to do that? Cole asked, watching her work. Been practicing. Ask Doc Morrison to teach me. She tied off the final stitch. Figured if I'm going to live out here, I should know how to handle injuries. Pride shone in Cole's eyes. You're amazing, you know that? I'm learning from the best. She bandaged the wound snugly. Now, you rest. I'll handle the evening chores. Eliza, it's freezing out there. And you're injured. I know where everything is, what needs doing. Trust me. The word hung between them. Trust. Cole swallowed hard and nodded. Gloves are by the door. Take the heavy coat, not the light one. And for God's sake, tie the safety rope. If you get disoriented in the snow, I know. She kissed him quiet. I'll be careful, I promise. The cold hit her like a physical blow when she opened the door. Snow swirled so thick she could barely see the barn, just a dark shape in the white chaos. She tied the rope around her waist, the other end secured to the porch rail, exactly as Cole had taught her during their preparations. The livestock were restless, but unharmed. She fed and watered them, checked that the barn was secure against the wind, then made the treacherous journey back. By the time she collapsed inside, ice crusted her eyebrows and her fingers burned with cold. Cole helped her out of the frozen layers, rubbing her hands between his until feeling returned. You did good. We're a team, Eliza said simply. The storm raged for 3 days, as Cole had predicted. They were trapped inside. The world reduced to firelight and each other. Eliza discovered she didn't mind the isolation. In fact, she cherished it. These hours of talking, cooking together, reading aloud from Cole's books, teaching each other card games and songs. On the second night, curled together in bed, with the wind screaming outside, Eliza realized she'd missed her monthly bleeding. Her hand moved unconsciously to her stomach. Something wrong? Cole's arm tightened around her. No, she took a breath. I think I might be pregnant. Cole went very still. Then he shifted to look at her face in the dim light. Are you sure? Not completely, but I'm late, and I've been feeling strange in the mornings, tired, queasy. She searched his expression. How do you feel about that? Terrified, Cole admitted, and happier than I can put into words. He pressed his palm gently over her stomach. A baby. Our baby. You're not worried? Course I'm worried. Childbirth is dangerous. Raising children is hard. There's 1,000 things that could go wrong. His thumb traced circles on her hip. But I'm also thinking about teaching our son to ride, or watching our daughter learn to shoot, reading them stories, showing them how to be good people, building something that lasts beyond just us. Tears pricked Eliza's eyes. Our daughter might want to ride too. Our son might prefer books. Cole laughed softly. They can do whatever makes them happy, as long as they're kind and brave and know they're loved. Like their father, Eliza whispered. Like their mother, Cole corrected. The storm finally broke on the 4th morning. They emerged to a world of pristine white, the sun dazzling on new snow. Together, they dug out paths, checked on the animals, assessed damage. It was hard work, but they moved in sync, anticipating each other's needs. That evening, as they collapsed exhausted onto the couch, Cole pulled Eliza close. I need to tell you something. Earlier, when you went out to handle the animals alone, I was scared out of my mind. You hid it well, because I knew you could do it. But there's a difference between knowing it here, he tapped his head, and accepting it here. He pressed her hand to his heart. I'm going to struggle sometimes with letting you take risks. Not because I think you're weak, but because losing you would destroy me. Eliza understood. She felt the same protective instinct toward him. So we both promised to be careful, to take smart risks, not stupid ones, and to trust each other's judgment. Deal. Cole hesitated. But with the baby coming, things are going to change. You won't be able to do everything you do now, at least not for a while. And I need you to promise you won't push yourself too hard, that you'll let me help. There it was, the tension she'd been sensing. I'm pregnant, not broken. Women have been having babies and working ranches since the beginning of time. I know that. His jaw tightened. But my mother died in childbirth. And Sarah, she was pregnant when her husband killed her. I can't lose you, Eliza. I can't. His voice cracked on the last words, and Eliza's frustration melted into understanding. This wasn't about controlling her. It was about terror born from loss. Look at me. She cupped his face in both hands. I'm not your mother. I'm not Sarah. I'm strong. I'm careful. And I have the best partner in the world watching my back. We're going to get through this together. But you have to let me keep being me. If you try to wrap me in cotton wool, we'll both go crazy. Cole closed his eyes, leaning into her touch. You're right. I know you're right. It's just scary, Eliza finished. It's scary for me too, but I'd rather face scary things with you than safe things with anyone else. Together, Cole said. Together, she agreed. The winter deepened, and with it, Eliza's pregnancy became undeniable. Her body changed, growing round with new life. Some days, she felt strong and capable. Others, exhaustion pinned her to bed. Cole learned to read her moods, offering help when needed and space when wanted. He built a cradle from smooth pine, carved with horses and stars. Eliza sewed tiny cloves, hemming each piece with careful stitches. They talked for hours about names, about what kind of parents they wanted to be, about the future stretching before them. I want our children to be brave, Eliza said one evening, her hands resting on her swollen belly. But also kind, to know their own worth, but not think they're better than others. We'll teach them by example, Cole said. Show them what real strength looks like, what partnership means. A sharp kick against Eliza's ribs made her gasp and laugh. This one's gonna be a fighter. Takes after their mother. Cole pressed his hand beside hers, feeling the baby move. His expression held such wonder, it made her throat tight. We're going to be good at this, Eliza said, surprising herself with the certainty. Yeah, Cole agreed softly. We are. Christmas came, and Cole surprised her with a gift, her mother's gold ring, now set on a delicate chain. So you can keep it close to your heart, he explained. Where it belongs. Eliza gave him a new holster she'd tooled herself, decorated with intricate patterns. For the man who taught me that protection and freedom aren't opposites. They celebrated quietly, just the two of them. But Eliza had never felt richer. The ranch might be small, their possessions simple, but the love between them was vast and deep. As winter slowly loosened its grip and early spring began to show itself, Eliza felt ready for what came next. The baby would arrive soon, bringing new challenges and joys. But whatever happened, she and Cole would face it as they faced everything, together, as equals, as partners who'd chosen each other against all odds. Ghosts and promises. March brought mud and melting snow, and with it, troubling news. Sheriff Morrison rode out on the first clear day, his expression grim. Wolcott escaped, he said without preamble, accepting the coffee Eliza offered. Killed 2 guards and disappeared into the mountains 3 weeks ago. We've been tracking him, but he knows this territory too well. Cole's hand tightened on his gun belt. You think he'll come here? He swore vengeance in front of a dozen witnesses before they transferred him to territorial prison. Said he'd finish what he started. Morrison looked at Eliza, heavy with child now, her belly huge beneath her work dress. I wanted to warn you. Keep extra vigilant. After the sheriff left, Cole immediately began making plans. I'll ride to town tomorrow, get supplies and more ammunition. Maybe hire a couple of ranch hands to help keep watch. Cole, Eliza caught his arm. We can't live in fear. We'll be careful, keep our guns close, but we can't stop living our lives. He wants to hurt you. Cole's voice was raw. To punish me through you. I should have killed him when I had the chance. Then you'd be no better than him. Eliza pressed his hand to her belly. where the baby kicked vigorously. We're bringing new life into this world. That's the opposite of Wolcott's hatred. That's how we win? Cole pulled her close, careful of her size. You're too good for this world, you know that? I'm exactly right for this world, Eliza corrected. For our world. A week later, Cole had to ride to Redemption Falls for spring supplies, seed, tools, things they couldn't make or grow themselves. He delayed as long as possible, reluctant to leave Eliza alone. I'll be fine, she insisted, checking her revolver with practiced ease. It's one day, maybe two. The baby's not due for another month. I'll keep the rifle by the door, the pistol on me at all times. If anything feels wrong, anything at all, you fire 3 shots. The Hendersons will hear it and come running. Cole had arranged signals with their nearest neighbors, 5 miles east. I know the plan. Eliza kissed him thoroughly. Now go, before the day gets any later. The sooner you leave, the sooner you're back. She watched him right away, one hand on her aching back. The baby sat heavy and low, making every movement awkward. But she'd meant what she said. She refused to live in fear. The morning passed quietly. Eliza fed the livestock, gathered eggs from the chickens, worked in the garden plot Cole had prepared. By afternoon, the physical labor had caught up with her. She retreated inside for a rest, her feet propped up, a cup of cool water nearby. She must have dozed, because when her eyes opened, the sun had shifted, and someone was walking toward the house. Eliza's hand found her revolver before her mind fully woke. Through the window, she recognized the figure despite years of prison. Thomas Wolcott, thinner and meaner, with wild eyes and a hatred that radiated like heat. He wasn't alone. 2 rough men flanked him, both armed. Eliza forced herself to breathe slowly, to think. She couldn't outrun them in her condition. The signal shots would bring help, but not for 20 minutes at least. She had to buy time. She positioned herself behind the heavy kitchen table, gun trained on the door. When they kicked it open, she was ready. That's far enough. Her voice was steady, the gun rock solid in her hands, despite the baby pressing on her lungs. Take another step, and I put a bullet through your skull, Wolcott. Wolcott laughed, the sound twisted and wrong. Look at you, playing cowboy. You think you're some kind of gunfighter now? I think I'm a woman defending her home. Eliza cocked the hammer, the click loud in the tense air. And I'm a better shot than you remember. Cole made sure of that. Where is your hero? Wolcott sneered. Hiding while his pregnant wife faces danger? Gone to town. He'll be back soon. It was a calculated risk, revealing that. But she needed them to know they had limited time. Perfect. Wolcott nodded to his companions. We've got time to make this hurt. The men spread out, trying to flank her. Eliza fired, the shot deliberate and precise. The bullet grazed one man's arm, making him yelp and stumble back. She swung the gun toward the other. I've got 5 more shots, she said coldly. And I only need 3. Who wants to die first? You won't shoot me, Wolcott said, taking a step forward. You're too soft, too gentle. That's what I liked about you before you became this. You never knew me at all. Eliza's finger tightened on the trigger. You saw property. Cole saw a person. That's the difference between you. Wolcott lunged. Eliza fired, catching him in the thigh. He went down screaming, clutching the wound. His men rushed forward, and Eliza fired twice more. One shot wild, one hitting its mark. But before she could fire again, pain exploded through her middle. The baby. Oh God, the baby. Eliza doubled over, the gun falling from nerveless fingers as liquid gushed down her legs. The baby was coming, weeks early, brought on by stress and fear. Wolcott's remaining man saw his chance and moved forward. Eliza grabbed the rifle she'd kept propped by the table, but another contraction seized her, blinding in its intensity. A shot rang out, but not from her gun. The hired man dropped, a red bloom spreading on his chest. Through the open door, Eliza saw the Hendersons on horseback, rifles raised. Behind them, more riders, neighbors, responding to gunshots they'd heard across the prairie. "Get the doctor!" Mrs. Henderson shouted, dismounting and rushing to Eliza's side. "The baby's coming!" The next hours blurred. Doc Morrison arrived as the sun set, his steady hands guiding Eliza through the most intense pain she'd ever known. Mrs. Henderson held her hand, coached her breathing, wiped her forehead with cool cloths. "You're doing beautifully," the doctor said. "Almost there. One more push." Eliza bore down with everything she had left, and suddenly the room filled with a baby's angry wail. Relief flooded her. "It's a girl," Doc Morrison announced, placing the tiny, squirming bundle on Eliza's chest. "Healthy lungs, strong heartbeat. She's perfect." Eliza looked down at her daughter, red-faced and furious, with a shock of dark hair and eyes that would probably be gray like coals. Love hit her like lightning, fierce and all-consuming. "Hello, little one," she whispered. "You sure know how to make an entrance." The baby's tiny fist wrapped around Eliza's finger, gripping tight. Cole arrived 2 hours later, riding hard, having been stopped on the road by a neighbor with news of the gunfight. He burst through the door white-faced and terrified, then stopped dead at the sight before him. Eliza propped up in their bed, holding a small bundle. Alive, safe, smiling at him through exhausted tears. "Cole," she said softly, "come meet your daughter." He crossed the room on shaking legs, sank down beside the bed. When Eliza placed the baby in his arms, his expression transformed into something Eliza had never seen. Pure, unfiltered joy mixed with terror and wonder. "She's so small," Cole breathed. "So perfect." "She's strong," Eliza corrected. "Decided to come early, right in the middle of me defending the ranch." Cole's eyes snapped to hers. "What happened?" "They said Wolcott is alive, but going back to prison with a bullet wound I gave him, along with his accomplices." Eliza kept her voice steady. "I protected our home, Cole. Protected our daughter, the way you taught me." Cole looked at her for a long moment. "I left you alone." "You had to. We needed supplies." She reached for his hand. "And I handled it. Not because I'm invincible, but because we prepared for this. Because you trusted me to be strong. I'm sorry I wasn't here." "I'm not," Eliza said it gently but firmly. "I needed to know I could do this. That I'm still the woman who can protect herself, and what matters most. Being a mother doesn't make me helpless, Cole. It makes me more dangerous than ever." Cole looked down at their daughter, then back at Eliza. "You're right. You're absolutely right." He kissed Eliza's forehead. "I'm proud of you. Terrified retroactively, but so damn proud." "Good." Eliza leaned against him. "Because this little one is going to need parents who are partners, not a father who hovers and a mother who resents it." "Deal." Cole studied the baby's face. "What should we name her?" "I was thinking Sarah," Eliza said softly. "For your sister, so she's honored, remembered." Cole's throat worked, emotion flooding his eyes. "Sarah Grace Dalton. Grace for what she brings to our lives." "Perfect," Eliza whispered. "Over the next weeks, They learned the exhausting rhythm of new parenthood. Sarah was demanding, waking every few hours to eat, crying for reasons they couldn't always decipher. But she was also perfect. Tiny fingers that gripped with surprising strength, eyes that were indeed turning gray, expressions that ranged from puzzled to furious to blissfully content. Cole proved surprisingly natural with her, learning to change diapers without complaint, walking her endlessly when she fussed, singing off-key lullabies that somehow always worked. Eliza watched him cradle their daughter and fell in love with him all over again. "You're a natural," she said one evening, watching him rock Sarah to sleep. "So are you." Cole looked up with a soft smile. "She's lucky to have you as her mother, someone who'll teach her to be strong and kind, to stand up for herself. And she's lucky to have you as her father, someone who'll show her what a good man looks like, what respect means." Sarah made a small snuffling sound, and they both held their breath until she settled back into sleep. "I've been thinking," Cole said quietly, "about what happened with Wolcott, about how I felt when I heard you'd faced him alone." "Cole, let me finish." He looked at their daughter, then at Eliza. "I realized something. My fear of losing you had been making me want to protect you from everything. But watching you handle that situation, seeing how strong you are, it made me understand that trying to keep you safe from all danger isn't protection, it's prison." Eliza felt her eyes sting with tears. "That's what I've been trying to tell you." "I know, and I'm finally hearing it." Cole shifted Sarah to one arm and reached for Eliza with the other. "From now on, we're true partners. I won't try to shield you from the world. Instead, I'll stand beside you while we face it together." "Together," Eliza echoed, the word taking on deeper meaning with each passing day. News came that Wolcott had been transferred to a maximum security prison in another territory. His accomplices had been sentenced to long terms. The threat was finally, truly over. "It's done," Sheriff Morrison told them on his final visit. "He won't be getting out again, ever." After he left, Eliza felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The ghost of her past was truly exorcised now. She was free, not just legally, but in every way that mattered. That night, with Sarah sleeping peacefully in her cradle, Eliza and Cole stood on their porch, watching the stars. The air smelled of spring, new glass, wildflowers, the promise of growth and renewal. "We did it," Eliza said. "We survived. We built something real." "We did more than survive." Cole pulled her close. "We created life. We made a home. We proved that good can win." "Most days," Eliza corrected with a smile. "Some days, we just prove we can get through until bedtime." Cole laughed. "Those days count too." They stood in comfortable silence, listening to the night sounds, crickets, a distant coyote, the soft creak of the windmill. Inside, Sarah made a small noise, but settled back into sleep on her own. "What do you think she'll be when she grows up?" Cole wondered. "Whatever she wants," Eliza said firmly. "A rancher like her father, a teacher, a doctor, maybe a sheriff." She grinned. "She's already got the temperament for law enforcement. God help us all." But Cole's voice was warm with affection and pride. Eliza thought about the girl she'd been, running through the night in a torn wedding dress, believing she had no value beyond what men assigned her. And now here she stood, a wife by choice, a mother, a woman who defended her home and family with her own hands. The journey from that frightened girl to this strong woman felt both impossibly long and surprisingly short. "Thank you," she said suddenly. "For what?" "For seeing me, really seeing me from that very first day, for helping me see myself. Cole kissed her temple. You did the same for me, made me believe I could be more than a man living in the shadow of grief. Showed me that opening my heart again wasn't weakness. It was the bravest thing I could do. We're quite a pair, Eliza said. The best pair, Cole agreed. Building legacy. 5 years later, the ranch had grown considerably. 2 more children had joined their family. James, 3 years old with Eliza's auburn hair and mischievous grin, and baby Michael, just 6 months old and already showing signs of his father's quiet determination. Sarah, now 5, was fearless and curious, equally comfortable helping her father with horses or her mother in the garden. The ranch itself had expanded. More land, a new barn, additional livestock. They'd hired 2 permanent ranch hands and took on seasonal workers during busy times. Eliza had become known throughout the region for her skill with horses and her willingness to teach other women to ride and shoot. It was late summer when the girl appeared. Eliza saw her first from the kitchen window, a small figure stumbling up the road, dressed in what had once been fine clothes, but were now torn and filthy. Even from a distance, Eliza recognized the posture of desperation, the way the girl kept looking over her shoulder, as if pursued. "Cole," Eliza called. "We have a visitor." Cole emerged from the barn, Sarah trailing behind him. He took one look at the approaching figure, and his expression softened with understanding. "Go inside, sweetheart," he told Sarah. "Help your mama get some food ready." By the time the girl reached their yard, she was swaying with exhaustion. She couldn't have been more than 17, with tangled blonde hair and bruises darkening her pale skin. "Please," the girl whispered. I have money. I can pay." She fumbled with a small bag, hands shaking so badly she dropped it. Eliza was there in an instant, catching the girl before she could collapse. "Cole, get the doctor, now!" He was already moving toward the barn and his fastest horse. Eliza half-carried the girl inside, settling her into a chair, while Sarah watched with wide eyes. "James, take your brother upstairs," Eliza said quietly. "Sarah, fetch the medical supplies." Her daughter obeyed without question, already mature beyond her years. The girl was crying now, silent tears tracking through the dirt on her face. "I'm sorry. I didn't know where else to go. They said, someone in town said you might help women who—" "It's all right," Eliza said gently, kneeling beside the chair. "You're safe here. No one's going to hurt you. What's your name?" "Margaret. Maggie." The girl's voice was barely audible. "My father arranged a marriage. The man, he hurt me. I ran." Eliza's heart clenched with painful recognition. She knew the story. She'd lived this story. "How long have you been running?" 3 days, maybe 4. I'm not sure anymore." Maggie looked up with hollowed eyes. "They'll be looking for me. I shouldn't have come here. I'm putting you in danger." "Stop." Eliza took the girl's hands in hers. "Listen to me carefully. We've been exactly where you are. We know what it's like to run, to be afraid, to think you have nowhere to turn. And we're going to help you." Sarah returned with the medical kit. Eliza began cleaning Maggie's wounds, mostly superficial cuts and scrapes from running through rough country, but evidence of older injuries too. Finger-shaped bruises on her arms, a partially healed split lip. "My husband will be back with the doctor soon," Eliza said, keeping her voice calm and steady. "We're going to get you cleaned up, fed and safe. Then we'll figure out the next steps together." "Why are you being so kind?" Maggie whispered. "You don't know me because someone was kind to me when I needed it most." Eliza met the girl's eyes. "And because no woman should have to face what you're facing alone." Sarah brought warm bread and soup without being asked. Eliza watched her daughter hover nearby, her young face serious with concern, and felt a swell of pride. They were teaching her well, to help those in need, to stand up against cruelty, to be strong and compassionate in equal measure. Doc Morrison arrived within the hour and examined Maggie thoroughly. She's malnourished and dehydrated, multiple contusions in various stages of healing, he reported to Eliza and Cole privately. But nothing life-threatening. Rest, good food, and safety will do most of the healing. The emotional scars? He shook his head. Those will take longer. We know, Eliza said quietly. Over the next days, Maggie slowly emerged from her shell of fear. She helped with household tasks, played gently with the children, began to eat more regularly. But she startled at sudden sounds and woke screaming from nightmares. One evening, Eliza found her on the porch, staring at the sunset. "May I join you?" Maggie nodded. They sat in silence for a while before the girl spoke. "How did you do it? Everyone says you ran from a forced marriage, too. How did you become this?" She gestured at Eliza, at the ranch, at the life surrounding them. "Time," Eliza said honestly, "and the right partner, and deciding that what happened to me didn't get to define who I became." She looked at Maggie. "You're stronger than you think. The fact that you ran, that you survived 3 days alone, that takes incredible courage." "I was just scared." Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite the fear. Eliza remembered Cole telling her something similar, years ago. "What do you want, Maggie? Not what your father wants or what society expects. What do you want?" Maggie was quiet for a long time. "I want to be free, to make my own choices, to never be afraid again." "Those are good wants," Eliza smiled. "And they're all possible. But freedom comes with responsibility. You'll need to learn skills to support yourself, to defend yourself if necessary. Like you did, like I did." Eliza paused. "If you want to stay here for a while, we can teach you. Riding, shooting, ranching, whatever you need to be independent. No obligations, no demands. Just preparation for whatever life you choose next." Hope flickered in Maggie's eyes for the first time. "You'd do that?" "We'd be honored to do that." The decision was made. Maggie became part of their household, learning alongside Sarah and helping care for the younger boys. Cole taught her to ride with the same patience he'd shown Eliza years before. Eliza taught her to shoot, to track, to read the weather and the land. But more than skills, they taught her worth. Every day, in small ways and large, they showed Maggie that she mattered, that her opinions counted, that her strength was real and valuable. 3 months later, Sheriff Morrison rode out with news. Maggie's father has dropped the search, claims she's dead. The groom, well, he found another bride willing to take his money. It's safe for her to go wherever she wants now. Maggie sat very still as she absorbed this information. "I'm legally free?" "As free as the wind," Morrison confirmed. That night, Maggie approached Cole and Eliza, where they sat on the porch after the children were asleep. "I've been thinking about what I want to do next." "And?" Eliza asked gently. "There's a teaching position open in Redemption Falls. The school board said they'd consider me if I passed their examination." Maggie's voice grew stronger as she spoke. "I want to teach children, especially girls. I want them to know they have choices, that they're worth something beyond who they marry." Pride bloomed in Eliza's chest. "That's a wonderful goal. But I'm scared," Maggie admitted. "What if I'm not good enough?" "One is, you are good enough," Cole said firmly. You're smart, brave, and you care about making a difference. That's what matters. And if you stumble, you get back up, Eliza added. That's what we do. We fall, we learn, we keep going. Maggie passed her examination with high marks and started teaching that fall. But she visited the ranch regularly, and Eliza saw her confidence growing with each visit. The way she held herself taller, spoke more firmly, smiled more freely. One visit, Maggie brought a young woman with her, another runaway, another desperate soul needing sanctuary. I hope you don't mind, Maggie said, introducing Helen, who clutched a small bag and looked around with fearful eyes. I remembered what you did for me. I thought maybe, of course, Eliza said immediately. Come inside, Helen. You're safe here. And so a pattern emerged. Women heard about the Dalton Ranch, a place where runaways could find shelter, where they could learn to be strong, where they'd be treated as people rather than property. Not everyone stayed long. Some moved on after a few weeks, armed with new skills and renewed confidence. Others stayed months, becoming part of the extended family before finding their own paths. Eliza and Cole never turned anyone away. They expanded the house to accommodate temporary residents, taught countless women to ride and shoot and believe in themselves. Sarah grew up surrounded by stories of courage and survival, learning that helping others wasn't charity, it was responsibility. By the time Sarah turned 10, she could outride and outshoot most of the ranch hands. She was also gentle with frightened newcomers, patient in teaching them skills, fierce in defending them if their pursuers came calling. She's going to be something special, Doc Morrison observed one day, watching Sarah help a new arrival learn to saddle a horse. She already is, Cole said with quiet pride. Years continued to pass. James grew into a talented veterinarian, caring for animals throughout the region. Michael became a lawyer, using his skills to help women escape abusive situations legally. And Sarah became a legend. She eventually ran the ranch with her husband, continuing her parents' legacy of providing sanctuary, teaching strength, offering hope. The ranch became known throughout the territory. Judges referred women there. Sheriffs sent runaways for protection. And slowly, gradually, the culture began to shift. Women were seen as people, not property. Marriages were consensual, not transactional. The world changed, one rescued soul at a time. Years later, when their children asked how their parents met, Eliza would tell them the truth about running through the night in a ruined wedding dress, about finding safety with a stranger who became her everything, about learning that real love doesn't cage or control, but sets you free to be your strongest, truest self. And Cole would add, in his gravelly voice that still made her heart race, your mother taught me that protecting someone doesn't mean keeping them helpless. It means giving them the tools to protect themselves and standing beside them when they need it. The ranch prospered over the years. They added more land, more livestock, eventually built a bigger house to accommodate their growing family. But the original homestead remained standing, a testament to where their story began. Eliza never forgot the girl she'd been, frightened, desperate, believing she had no value beyond what men decided she was worth. But she also never let that girl define her future. She became a skilled markswoman, taught other women to ride and defend themselves, served on the town council when Redemption Falls elected officials for the first time. And through it all, Cole was beside her, not ahead, not behind, but beside her as an equal partner. They fought, they laughed. They built a legacy together that had nothing to do with ownership and everything to do with choice. on their 30th anniversary, sitting on that same porch where so much of their love had grown, Eliza squeezed Cole's weathered hand. "Do you remember what you said that first day when I tried to pay you with gold?" Cole smiled, the expression carving deeper lines into his tanned face. "I said I didn't take payment from women running for their lives. You said you'd provide what I needed without gold changing hands." Eliza leaned her head on his shoulder. "You gave me so much more than food and shelter. You gave me myself back." "You did the same for me," Cole said softly. "After Sarah died, I thought I'd spend my life alone, punishing myself for failing her. Then you showed up, and suddenly I had a reason to live again, to hope again." "We saved each other," Eliza said. "We did." Cole kissed the top of her head. "Best decision I ever made, telling you to keep that gold ring. Best decision I ever made was saying I was yours." "And I'm yours," Cole murmured. "Always together." "Always together," Eliza agreed, watching the sun paint the sky in those familiar colors, surrounded by the life they'd built from ashes and hope and stubborn, fierce love that refused to be broken. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I'd love to know where you're enjoying this tale from. Are you listening at home, during your commute, or perhaps while working? Please subscribe to the From Wild West channel and share your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of Eliza and Cole's journey? Your feedback means the world to us.